When you are with a narcissist, you think you have choice, you think you have space because the narcissist says so. They create this illusion of choice for you, and you think you can be whosoever you want to be. You can think, feel, and believe whatever you want to think, feel, and believe. But they shape the environment in such a way that it always leads to the outcome they have set for you. No matter what, you end up feeling, thinking, and believing the things they see acceptable or that are appropriate as per them. But how are they able to do so? How are they able to win in all situations possible? How do they give you this illusion of choice and then end up making you do things that you didn't want to do otherwise? Let's talk about that in today's episode. Hi, I am Danish, a narcissistic abuse recovery professional. In this episode, we'll be understanding a dark psychological phenomena, a dark psychological mind game, which is called double bind or creating a double bind. We'll be talking about how a narcissist creates double binds for you and gives you the illusion, the idea of having a choice, but then makes you do what they want you to do. And this is really dangerous because you do not recognize what is going on. If that sounds interesting and you want to really dive in deep and understand what happened to you, please make sure to subscribe before we begin, because your subscription to the channel would help spread the awareness. Also press the bell icon to stay notified with everything that I post over here. Before we get started, I have a question for you. What was the most confusing thing in the narcissistic relationship that you probably still cannot make sense of? Drop your answers and experiences in the comments below and help other survivors feel connected and validated. Without further ado, let's get started with understanding what a double bind is. In simple terms, a double bind is a situation. It's a psychological phenomena where you think or believe, or it seems like you have choices and you can choose, and both the choices can lead to separate outcomes. But in reality, both of the choices lead to the same outcome. In other words, you think you have choices, but you are destined to lose because the person who is giving you the choice wants you to think that you have the choice, but in reality, they know that no matter what you choose among the options that you have, you would end up doing the same thing they want you to do. Now that I have explained it, you can already connect the dots and think of all the things that happened in the narcissistic relationship. You thought you had the choice. You thought the narcissist gave you the space, but they ended up saying something, doing something completely different, and you ended up feeling the same thing they promised they would never make you feel again. They promised that they would never hurt you in the way you have been hurt in the past, but the way they set up the situation ended up leading to the same outcome that you have been running away from. Let's try to understand this phenomena with an example. The narcissist is having a conversation with you and says something along the lines, I don't want you to feel bad. Please do not blame yourself. You didn't do anything wrong. But then goes on and on and on, but then ultimately says, well, I have a few things that are bothering me. I have a few things that made me feel mad. I have a few things that made me feel abandoned, and so on. Ultimately, they end up believing you, but through them. They might say, well, I was trying to express myself, but you know, in the guise of expression, they were saying the same thing they could have said to you directly by blaming you. So they gave you the choice of not blaming yourself, okay? Now you think, I don't have to blame myself. I didn't do anything wrong. But then they end up blaming you indirectly, especially if it is a covert, a stealthy narcissist who's playing this mind game in a very subtle way. They blame you. They talk about the other person and how you ended up hurting them in ways you have hurt the narcissist earlier in the past, to point out that you are doing something wrong. There is something wrong with you. And then when you feel sad, when you feel bad, you are belittled for feeling this way because they gave you choice. They didn't say anything wrong. So why are you feeling this way? There was no reason for you to feel sad. How could you be so sensitive? So these double binds are very tricky situations. Another example of this could be the narcissistic mother telling you, I love you. You are my world. You are my everything. I'll do everything for you. I am your biggest support. But then, through the actions, she puts you down. She traumatizes you, abuses you, shows disgust towards you, neglects you, abandons you. This is a double bind which creates cognitive dissonance indeed, but the double bind is the origin of cognitive dissonance. So they made you think and believe you have a choice, or things are working a certain way, but then ended up doing something entirely different. They ended up doing things that proved the earlier narrative they had set for you completely wrong, and you got sandwiched between the two narratives, two experiences, and those experiences get compartmentalized in your brain, which leads to a lot of instability within. Being a hypnotherapist, I can tell you that this is a very dark psychological tactic. In hypnosis, when you put someone in a trance and you know that there would be some resistance, or you want to give the client a lot of options, or you want to make them think that they have a lot of options to choose from, but deep down you know all these options could lead to one outcome. This is what happens in a narcissistic relationship. A narcissist puts you in a trance, in a covert conversational trance, gives you choices. That's why you feel crazy. That's why it takes you so much time to recognize that they were crazy making you all the time. Because apparently, on the surface, nothing seems wrong. They were okay. They never yelled. They gave me choices. They never controlled me. They never hit me. They never asked me to do things their way, at least overtly. So why do I feel this way? It must be me. It must be my anxiety. I must be the crazy one in all of this. Probably I created the situation. Yeah, maybe it's my past. It's my childhood issues that I'm projecting onto this relationship. I am the one who is to be blamed. Probably this is an innocent person. They were not mean. You are not able to recognize what happens at the subconscious level. Talking more about the hypnosis aspect of it, let me give you an example of how the double bind is suggested. So let's say my goal as a hypnotherapist is to induce dissociation, meaning to create some dissociation so that you can process emotions and memories that are otherwise very triggering. I would say something along the lines of, you can be a mind in the vast realms of space and time, observing your body that is lying down on that bed or sitting in that chair, resting deep asleep. Or you can be a body sleeping, watching this mind over and above in the realms of space and time while being deep asleep. Now, both of these sound different. You can be either a mind or a body, but being either of those would lead to the same outcome. What is the outcome? Dissociation. You are disconnected from the feelings. So the body, if you are a body that is sleeping, you would not feel anything. And if you are this dispassionately curious mind disconnected from the body, you would not feel anything. And I hope I was able to thoroughly explain this phenomena, because this is deeper than what I can express in words. I can't tell you how much damage it causes to a person. I think saying that it is emotional abuse would be an understatement. In my opinion, it is emotional assassination. Yes, that is a strong word, I know, but it is emotional assassination. It gives you a soul wound that leaves you squirming, that leaves you suffering for months, if not years, even after leaving the narcissist, because you can't seem to make sense of why it aches so much. You can't pinpoint the source of your pain, but you feel the ache. You feel the suffering, you feel the confusion, you are constantly blaming yourself, you are constantly doubting your ideas, your thoughts, your feelings, and you can't see how he or she, the narcissist who hurt you, was wrong, or how did they abuse you, because it's not apparent. So they use these double binds in conversations. They give you an idea that you have a choice, but you don't have any. You end up doing what they want you to do. They give you the idea of a choice through their actions. They create double binds through their actions. Sometimes they would do one thing, but the other times they would do the other. Or they might want you to do something. They give you the choice of being either this way or that way. But deep down they know either of these would lead to the same outcome. The outcome that they want, that they have set for you. So that was it for today's episode. I hope you found it insightful. If you did, let me know in the comments. Make sure to drop a like and share this video with those who might need to watch this. I'll talk with you in the next one. Until then, let the healing begin.